Our videos of the logic tree will be divided up into bite-sized chunks so as to not get too long. Your reading material and presentation go into several different RCA tools, root cause analysis tools, that can be used for various occasions. The value of having a video on each of those is really minimal, but your RCA project, your root cause analysis project, requires you to create a logic tree from an accident case study. So we will go into that tool with a little bit more depth. The logic tree is a combination of a logic diagram and a fault tree. So logic diagram, fault tree, we have then a logic tree. A logic diagram is a flow chart that guides you through the decision-making process by asking a series of questions and directing you through the logic. A fault tree, on the other hand, is a proactive tool that is used to identify hazards that might lead to a hypothetical top event or mishap. The logic tree requires us to ask specific questions at each level that leads us to information contained in the next lowest level, the next lower level. It is a tightly coupled cause and effect chain. Starting at the top, you have what our authors call the top box. The top box is the information that must be factual. It's not speculation. So the top box is the aggregate of the events and the modes, and they must start out as factual in order to lead through the rest of our logic tree. The top level events identify the mishap. Use caution here. Where you start this process determines the success of the whole thing. The event box identifies the consequences. All right, and the consequences are not assumptions. For example, the top event is not that the pilot did not put the landing gear down. The top event may be that the aircraft landed with gear up. Think of the top event as the consequence of the mishap, or why we care. It is usually the negative consequences that trigger a root cause analysis, not necessarily the incident itself. So what goes into the event, the top box? What goes into the top box, into the event box, is the last link in the error chain. The modes, the next selection down, describe how the event has occurred in the past. Remember that these are still only facts. Mode answers the question, how has the event occurred in the past for chronic events? And there may be several different ways in which the event has occurred in the past. Those go here. For sporadic events, on the other hand, the question is asked, what triggered the event or consequences? Do not ask why yet. That will come later. Notice that in the modes level, you will have more boxes as a general rule for chronic events than you will for sporadic events. Right? So as you ask the question for chronic events, those repeat events that happen over and over again, how has the event occurred in the past? You have more data to go on. For the sporadic events, the one-time big bang, the question asks what triggered the event or consequences. You may only have a couple. So just note that as we go through. Here are two examples of the top box event, or of the top box for a sporadic event and a chronic event. This is taken from our Latino text. For the sporadic event, we'll talk about the sporadic event first. The top event, the sporadic event, was that the entire facility was shut down for 7 days. That, remember, is the consequence. It's not actually what happened, but it's the consequence. It's why do we care? The entire facility was shut down for 7 days. What triggered that event? This is a sporadic event. It's a one-time big bang event. What triggered the event? That will get us to our mode examples. So what triggered the event? A couple things triggered it. Failure of the pipe wall upstream of the flow meter. Another mode that contributed to the severity of the event was improper response. Those are all factual. All three of those items, the top event and the modes, the two modes, are all factual occurrences, and they would be in the top box for a sporadic event. Next, let's look at the chronic event. Here's an example, again, from your Latino text on a chronic event. The chronic event is recurring process upsets. Recurring process upsets is the consequence. We have our process and they continue to malfunction. They continue to have problems. We ask the question, how has the event occurred in the past? Not why. How has the event occurred in the past? We have a couple of different examples here at the mode level. Motor failure, pump failure, fan failure, shaft failure. These are also all factual. They can be proven with evidence. That is a crucial element of the top two elements, the top box of the logic tree. That the top box event and modes in the top box are proven factual with evidence. Now, in the next several videos, we will go ahead and continue to move on down the logic tree, figuring out root causes.